We have all kinds of cords connecting our energetic system with that of the deceased. There is no death in nature. The natural process of building up and dissolving down is part of all life. Funerals should be real and connect us with the earth. I'm a licensed funeral director working to help families all over New York City with green burial, cremation, and home funerals where the deceased is laid out in the parlor in the old-fashioned way. I was born into a grieving household, so I think I've had a connection to loss for all my life. I grew up around a family that was grieving the loss of an infant son who had died at the age of 13 months before I was on the scene. There was also 2 uncles who had died in World War II, whose pictures were on the wall, who I think my dad was very much missing. So there was a lot of people who were very present in the house even though they were absent. I was 54 years old when my elderly father became ill and died in South Carolina. I was amazed at how well my dad directed his own death. So out of that experience, I came back to Brooklyn and said, I wonder what it would be like to be in that line of work. In the early days of pioneers, if someone had their own land, they had their own family cemetery. The community took care of their own. There was no organized industry. During the Civil War, there were so many men dead in the battlefield that initially they buried them in trench graves. It was decided to preserve them for transit to their homes for burial. Embalming became the bedrock of the American funeral industry. I'm trying to make death a communal experience again and not just a medical event. The funeral industry has not been running clean, and nobody has been paying attention to our habits until recently. A green burial is a way to care for the dead in a way that furthers legitimate environmental aims. There's no embalming of the body, no chemicals used to preserve a biodegradable casket, which can be of pine or wicker. All of these caskets dissolve in the soil and allow the body to very naturally go back from whence we came. It's the same burial that we did in this country 200 years ago. The soft tissue on our bones has usefulness even after death. These are molecules that can return to the soil and foster plant life. This soft tissue should really be seen as something of value rather than just something to combust. The need to address the issues of global warming and climate change have inspired a lot of people who were already in the green burial movement. They've become more outspoken. We need to look at all of these environmental issues, find ways to honor our dead and then dispose of them. We're very bad in our society at saying goodbye. When you look around your friends and relatives, you'll see the theme of grief weaving through. My hopes are that we learn to see death as inevitable and very natural and even beautiful. Grief will be with you for the rest of your life. So being present to that grief becomes a tool and a way of being. This is consistent with Buddhist belief that in death contemplation, you become more present to what is. I think we need to carry our grief and share it with others.